We the top 10. UGK the major way, not play it don't stop here. Traffic lights, we going, know the time until the clock hit. Bands on roll, we doing digi to the whole block clear. Yo, what you got there? Oh, did you not hear? And he's taking over and we got the whole shop, yeah. Hershey wanna know.
One, two, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it, my words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it, you know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly, we ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all, peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah.
Nice little fade out. You see? This isn't so jarring. I like this. This is so much better. Episode 392. You are here with us, PHP Ugly, live. Well, unless you're listening to the audio version or watching it later on YouTube, you're here with us for now. This is
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We are welcome back, John.
Happy to be back. Sorry we were not here last week.
It's totally your fault, and I'm looking forward to having the conversation of your travels. If you're not familiar with where you are or why you're here because you're meant to be here. This was the moment in time that we were meant to connect. But this is a podcast, a weekly podcast for the most part, where we talk about all things PHP, the language, the community, and more importantly, our company, PHP Architect. I'm one of your hosts, Eric. You've already met John.
Yes,
And this show is made a little better thanks to some supporters and sponsors, honeybadger.io and our Patreon supporters. I feel like I talked through that too quickly because you know the lower fives. I need to expand that out some.
Lower fives, lower thirds, that's all the same.
Want to be part of the show? You're more than welcome to join us in our Discord at discord.phpugly.com, and there you can talk to everybody and you can suggest titles and you can hang out there all week. The Discord doesn't go away. Even though the show ends, the party keeps going, and some fantastic people in there. People have been part of the community for a very long time, so it's exciting. I was thinking about that recently, John, how long we've had this community now. It's crazy, man.
And it feels good. I like our community.
It really feels good. Yeah. So
for fuck's sake, is learning Perl? That's what I grew up on, was Perl.
I'm trying to forget Perl. Are you kidding me?
We're not sharing our chat. That's what I'm looking for. Put that over there. Oh,
yes.
There we go.
It takes a second.
I see that.
Oh, John, I'm so happy to have you back.
I am happy to be back because I didn't think I was gonna be here today.
I was questioning it. I was prepared to call in a backup this week if I needed to.
Probably still should have.
Wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Might make for a better show for sure.
So check it out. We'll get to your travel and your excitement here in a minute. We're both wearing our hats, right? And
wearing our hats.
I talked the last show about how dirty my hat's getting because this is my formal hat. Like if I'm going somewhere, doctor's office, something that requires a tuxedo, this is the hat I wear. This is not my everyday wear hat. So this is my everyday wear hat. As you can see, this is what I was trying to tell you. This is the hat I wear pretty much every day. I recently switched it out because, hold on one second. I recently switched it out because the summer is getting really hot here. It's gotten up to 110, and these hats don't have any ventilation to them. So I recently switched it out. But until a couple weeks ago, this is the hat I wore every day when I took my dog for a walk. So
it's worse than I imagined.
Where this hat looks dirty, and it totally is dirty. No, it can get dirtier. I'm actually proud of it, man. Like I feel like it's a working man's hat now.
It's a badge of honor right there.
This is a developer's hat. This is a working man's hat.
I just noticed mine's got a little schmutz up there.
Yeah, I need new hats. I'm heading down to Laracon this month, and I would love to have our new logo on the hat. Maybe even have a couple of hats to hand out if somebody has a special password or something. I don't want to put you on the spot, John.
Hats.
But
writing it down. Hats.
If I don't have any hats to give out on Laracon for PHP Architect, it's John's fault.
Great.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it's totally John's fault.
Considering I'm not going to be there, I'll take responsibility. How about that?
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, what a week, man. What a week it's been for me personally. But not quite as the same stress level as your week has been. First off, before we get into your week, I know I've done this a couple times. I know I've teased your week a couple times now, but I came to a realization while you're on vacation because we had a couple of other developers on vacation at the same time. It was probably the most people we've had on vacation at one time. Now you went to somewhere reasonable, within the country. We had a little back history. So John and I own and run PHP Architect, and one of the conversations we have a lot, matter of fact, we just had one recently, is about if we essentially pay our developers everything we can pay them. And we keep wondering, all right, how do we get them to the next level? How do we, get more money for our developers? Two of our developers went to the Caribbeans for their vacation. You know what? Fuck that. We pay them too much money. They're all good. They're in the Caribbeans on their vacation. Everybody's doing just fine. I'm not about it anymore. Okay, everybody's good.
That's true. They almost crossed paths. It was like,
how crazy would that have been? To be in another country and then to run into somebody without it being planned ahead of time. Yeah, just run into somebody. The
sad part is they talked about it afterwards. Had they somehow mentioned it beforehand, like, hey, we might be near each other. Let's make something happen here.
Yeah. I'm always surprised how often I run into people. I haven't run into, I don't know if I've ever run into anybody since moving to where I'm at now, but when I was further down close to San Diego, I used to run into people all the time, anywhere, like the most random place. And San Diego is not small. It's a very big area. Lots of people in there. And I felt like whenever I left the house, I had a chance of running into. Matter of fact, I stopped going to the grocery store with my wife. Now, granted, this is in the neighborhood we live in. I stopped going to the grocery store with my wife because she was running into somebody she knew, and she was going to stand there and talk to them for 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm not going with you. You go. I got things to do. I don't have
that was your wife. She was so social, especially with the kids and all their friends and the friends' families, and like, yeah, she was all in. I remember that.
As a matter of fact, so random, not random, but like just to bring more attention to this point. So we haven't lived in San Diego County now for a couple of years, but kids live there. We have a lot of business in there. We go down there fairly frequently. We went down for Pride because NorCal Kid obviously is very involved with Pride. SoCal Kid, has interest in Pride, and obviously they're partners. And we go and support our children. So we go down there, and we're leaving Pride. Like, we're parents, right? We're not looking to hang out long. We just want to show our support and just move along. And we're there for like an hour, and we go to leave, and we run into like multiple people as we're leaving, like Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. I just have to look at the wife. I'm like, we know these, right? We know these people. Yeah.
Can you give me a little hint real quick before we start talking?
They usually talk to the current wife before they talk to me, so I can usually pick up on context. Like the wife will drop hints. What have you been doing since school? Okay, the kids went to school with them. Married. That's one check.
I feel like same with me and my wife. Like, she knows everybody from the kids' school, and afterwards I'm like, they were no, they weren't. They were this person. I'm like, I'll never get this straight. Can't figure it out.
Yeah, I just gave up on it. Lean into it, John. Just lean into not knowing. It makes things easier. How was your trip?
I do. For the most part, my trip was phenomenal. Like, I had a plan, went up to New York, visited friends on Long Island, drove up to see my mom and do things that I used to do with my dad with my kids. Go-karting, mini golf. There was this one mini golf place that had a ice cream stand in front of it. That was always a go-to because it was like 5 minutes from my dad's house. So got to take them there for that. So got to do the things that reminded me of my dad with the kids, and I loved that. Then we had to come home. Coming home was not as easy. Like, planning a trip where you drive 4 hours away, like we didn't want to drive 4 hours back down to the city to fly home. So we did that multi-city, fly into JFK, go see our friends, drive up north of Albany, see my mom, and then come back through Albany. So we stayed there the night before a flight and had like a 6 a.m. flight. Get to the hotel, get the kids ready for bed because we got to wake up at 3 a.m. to get them to the airport. Luckily, we got the notice that the flight was canceled at like 8 or 9 o'clock that night. So we didn't have to wake the kids up. That would have been the worst, right? Wake up at 3:30, get to the airport, and it's canceled. And then spent the next 2 hours trying to figure out, okay, how are we getting home? And there was nothing available for at least 2 days. So I said, well, let's look at other cities. And he got us a flight out of Newark at New Jersey out at the next day at 7:30 p.m. So Tuesday night. Okay. We got to go spend more time with our friends on Long Island. It was great. Spending more time. But then I'm watching the weather's bad. And as it gets closer, I'm watching that traffic build up because you got to drive through the city. So around 2 o'clock, I'm telling my wife, we got to get going. We have 2 hours of a drive to go. So we leave. We were at the pool, the community pool they have. We get back to their house and start getting things ready. Pull up. Delayed until like 9:30 or 10:30 that night. Okay, this sucks. But we get to hang out a little bit longer. We're not as rushed. Mm-hmm. Then it's delayed till 11:30, 12:30, 1:45 in the morning. So as we're watching this happen, we get to spend more time with our friends. We go and have dinner with them one last time, which was great. Everything was going really well. I pull it back up and it was like, now at 10:30. It went from 1:45 a.m. back to 10:30 p.m. And at this point, it's like 8:30. So we have to drive over an hour to get to the airport. So I'm like, kids, we got to go now. I've never seen us turn around and get out of a place so fast. Like within 5 minutes, we had the luggage loaded in the car and we're on the road. In terrible downpour, which sucked. And then about 20-30 minutes into the drive, we check again and it was delayed another hour. So we're like, okay, we don't have to rush, drive safely in the rain, get to the airport. It's canceled. It's just a nightmare. But
so was it being canceled because of the weather? What was canceling the flights? Because we're talking about multiple days.
It was weather. It was all weather related. There's a hurricane coming up the East Coast. I don't know that played a role per se. It was just storms all across the Northeast. And then the flight that was supposed to be picking us up Tuesday night, I guess, couldn't make it to Newark because of weather. So they landed in Connecticut. So again, the plane's not there, so they can't take us. It was just a mess. And I count myself lucky. I've been trying to teach my kids, things happen. Sometimes you can think they happen for a reason, whatever, but be patient. Like, it's not the end of the world. And I felt so bad for her. There was this one girl, she's probably early mid-20s, and English obviously wasn't her first language. Listening to her talk, she's on the phone speaking another language, and she was just breaking down because she had 5 cancellations up to this point.
Oh my gosh.
So I count myself lucky. I mean, travel has just been a mess.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I kind of side with you, especially when you're flying within the continental US. It's like, yeah, whatever, we'll get there. It's I remember once we had an incident where my mother-in-law had missed her flight. And man, she just like broke down. I'm like, what are you so upset about? You're in Southern California. Why are you upset? You should be loving this. We'll get you home. I promise we'll get you home. But all right. Sorry about that. So none of that was related to that Windows issue a couple of weeks back, right? This was all just weather related.
They say no, because if it's weather related, the airlines don't have to reimburse you anything. They don't have to pay for your hotel or like your taxis or anything like that.
Really?
They will, if it's weather related, they will rebook you. They will, there's no change fee. They will get you home, but they won't cover hotel expenses.
Gotcha.
So was it weather? They say it was weather. I don't know how to prove that or not.
Well, one way you can know about issues you didn't expect before they happen. Nope, not before they happen. After they happen, before your customers find out about them. It's thanks to our sponsor, Honey Badger.
Splunk like querying without having to sell my kidneys? Nice. That's a direct quote from someone who just saw Honey Badger Insights, the new observability tool from the folks at honeybadger.io. Insights is a fresh approach to logging, performance monitoring, and observability. It's a bit like Splunk, Datadog, or CloudWatch logs, but with just the good parts and a reasonable price tag. Honey Badger helps you gain deeper visibility into what's happening inside your applications, letting you drill down into the details and step back to see patterns in your data. You'll love how easy it is to query your logs and events and create quick charts and dashboards. The best part is that it's available on Honey Badger's free tier as part of their comprehensive monitoring suite, which includes error tracking, uptime monitoring, status pages, and more. Get started for free, then pay as you grow, or choose a 30-day free trial to unlock the full power of Honey Badger right away. To get started, visit honeybadger.io/plans. That's honeybadger.io/plans. Thank you, Honey Badger.
Honey Badger. I swear to God, we are a PHP podcast, and we will be talking PHP at some point, maybe. Who knows? Uh, well, first off, I don't know if you've been paying attention, John, because I know you don't follow me on social media or anything like that. But
I
I
don't.
have a very exciting PHP roundtable tomorrow.
I have seen that.
Oh, you have seen that? Yeah,
event sourcing.
We have the two creators, maintainers of verbs will be on with us, as well as probably the guy with the coolest developer name in the world. Well, what's his first name? Shit. I forgot his first name. It's his last name that's so cool. His first name is Sean, not Steve. It's Sean. Sean McCool. Sean McCool will be joining us as well. So I'm so excited about this. I think this is like how I started to imagine Roundtable, and I got to talk to Sean a little today already, and just this is, I just want to set the expectation, like we're not interviewing you. The idea is to talk about the higher level topic of event sourcing, and he was very excited about that. Very excited to hear that. So yeah, the guy was hysterical. He jumped on with me for a few minutes. He just wanted to make sure his setup would work with Restream, and we had quite the conversation. Great guy. If you don't know Sean McCool or the guys over at Verbs, Chris and not Daniel. Daniel is Filament. We'll talk about Filament here in a second. What's it is Daniel. I'm looking. I don't know names. I don't know why people don't like me. Come join us. Obviously, we'll have our regular panelists as well. Joe, TJ, myself, Sarah. I'm not sure. Don't want to get people excited. Maybe Ben's going to show up. Who knows? We had a fight. We've had some cooling off period, and he accepted the invite for Friday. So I don't know. We're going to see. If you don't know who either of those people are,
tune in tomorrow.
Yeah. Watch the show. You'll figure us out later. Speaking of Filament, my God. Okay. PHP Tech website will probably go live this weekend. That was the other thing we needed to talk about, John. I wanted to walk through the website with you before I pushed it live.
That's what it was.
I knew there was something else we needed to go over once you got back. I spent a lot of time on PHP Tech website, and one of the things with it, so first, Tailwind, I love you, Tailwind. Adam, thank you for Tailwind. It gives me the ability to, not, my sites still look like crap, but not complete shit, and I thank you for that. Did a lot of Tailwind stuff, added some new things to the website this year. If you're not aware, you can go to the current PHP Tech conference website at phptech.io. Currently, it's still last year's conference, but when we push this new one, it'll be the new one. So maybe plan on doing that Sunday. Let's just go Sunday and see what happens. Went deep diving into Filament again, and I cannot get over how much I enjoy this package. If you're not a fan, or if you're not familiar with Filament, it's just this package. It's like, if you know what Nova is, this admin scaffolding package. I'm not even sure if scaffolding is the right word. Just this package meant to do admin interfaces on the back end. Filament is that, but it's free and open source and run by a great group of people. Now, I mean, their communities, talking about communities, the Filament community has gotten freaking insane. I just shared one plugin that I'm looking to implement into our Filament install so that John and I can tell if the other one of us is working on something at the same time, right? It's just this little plugin. But the community behind Filament, first off, Filament by itself and its original maintainers and developers were fantastic. This community, much like the Ugly community, has grown exponentially and has gotten so much good code, so many good plugins. It's insane. If you're not familiar with Filament, they're not a sponsor of the show, just a great bunch of developers doing a fantastic job on one of my favorite projects out there. You might want to check it out. I was not going anywhere with that. I just got tied up in the Filament development over the last couple of weeks. And it's so crazy when you're like, as a developer, right? You're putting something together and you're like, okay, I'm going to want it to do this. And you start thinking about like all the work you're going to have to do, especially when we're talking about basic CRUD stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And like with Filament, it's like, oh shoot, man, I really want to do this one thing. I'm probably going to have to do something weird and figure this out. And then you look at the docs like, oh yeah, no, they already figured it out. Just put this code in and we're good. Filament, man, it's great.
So obviously you haven't shown me the text website. I could see this. I could see this on PHP Tech TV, the Filament gaze you were talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm curious where that's fitting into the tech website.
You're killing me, John. You're
okay,
absolutely
for another day.
No, it's not for another day. It's on Tech TV.
Oh, Tech TV.
Again, okay. That's the database we used. Yeah. Think about how we did our sponsors and stuff last time.
No,
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. I figured you would just understood.
Nope, of course not. That makes you cannot assume anything with me. All right. So if I'm understanding this, Filament gaze, if you're using the sponsor as an example now, if you're on a sponsor's resource making any sort of changes, and I go there, I would see that you're already editing it. Is that the?
Yep. That's the idea behind it. Yeah. And I mean, that just happens to be the plugin I shared in Discord. But if you look at how simple this is to implement, and I wasn't even looking to implement it, but last year when we were working, there were a couple times where I'm like, damn, I wish I knew if John was working on this record because I don't want to try to change it if he's working on it. And I was just in the plugins directory of Filament, kind of looking at the latest plugins they have because they have 310 plugins now, with a good majority of them being free. I think there are some paid ones. Yeah, there are paid ones now. But I was in there and I came across this. I'm like, oh, and I think I had come across it, and then I turn around and it's like on Laravel News. I'm like, wait, what the hell just happened? Did this just get released? I don't think it just got released. I just think it was coincidental.
Did you talk about it in front of your speaker again? Is that the problem?
Yeah. I had the phone going. I'm sure Eric Burns is listening to every word I make. Him and Taylor plot all their ideas off of me. No, yeah, it was really weird. I don't know if it was on Laravel News yesterday or today or a couple days, but I did. I came across it right after I found it. So yeah. But that's not that plugin is not my point. Filament is my point in the community around it.
I just saw that. And I get it. There's a term for that where when you learn about something, then all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere. Like you learn about a new type of car, and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. And I don't remember the term.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, there's always these words. There was something like that recently where I'm like, I bet you there's a word for this, and I just don't know what it is. But you think, oh yeah,
there's probably a word for that where there's a word for it,
but you forget. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I got a purple car. I've never seen a purple car. Nobody has a purple car, and then you're driving around, and all of a sudden you see purple cars everywhere. Yep. I don't know. That might be exaggeration, but you get the point. All right. What else we got going on? I know you don't have a lot. Oh, yeah.
I haven't been working in 2 weeks, so no, I don't have a lot.
No,
it's annoying.
Yeah, and shout out to our team at PHP Architect, our developers. I guess our consulting team. If we're not that they're consultants to us, they're the people who work on contract work. Man, they just really stepped it up, and it was fantastic. Like I said, we've probably had more people out than regular. this past couple of weeks, and that really stepped it up. And we're still, quite honestly, we talked about how one of our primary people had moved to another time zone west of us, so we're still kind of working that out, as well as like just making sure that our clients aren't impacted too much as these time zones roll by. And we had a couple of incidents because it's like, even though we do our best to do knowledge transfer, and anybody who's a developer knows that in theory, knowledge transfer is a great thing, but in practice, it's like challenging, right? I mean, that's why we have coding standards and good practices, because you need people to be able to jump in code and be able to figure it out. And fortunately, we have a lot of good practices and standards in place, but that doesn't always translate to procedures. And we have certain procedures that, like, for example, when our client gets a customer who wants to use single sign-on, the procedure to do that is a little different for each customer, because they'll want to tie into their LDAP system, or want to tie into their authentication system, whatever it is, right? So we have to do these little tweaks, and we will have one developer who has over the years spent a lot of time with SSO and knows it inside and out. And of course, something goes wrong on a ticket that they've been working on, let's say, I don't know, for 3 weeks, because there's been a lot of back and forth, and something goes wrong and they're not available to address it, and one of our team members another team member has to step in and address it. It's just like, even though we understand the procedure and the process, and we have good coding practices, this individual ticket has a history of a week or two of back and forth, trying things out. What's broken this day is not what's broken the other day. And like, we have to kind of slide in there and try to get caught up on what's been addressed and what was implemented, how it was implemented. And man, it's just a pain.
And that back and forth is usually the third party client not giving us the right information to begin with. We ask for addresses or whatever we need, and we're just not getting that correct, or they miss a character, or whatever the case is. It's just a lot of waiting on other people.
Yeah. So yeah, there's been a lot of that this week, and it's been fun. I've gotten my hands dirty. Unfortunately, I didn't break anything. I asked for the connection information to the production database today, and Frank's said, nope. I have become that guy in the company where I'm like, yeah, no, I need into the production database. I mean, I can fix shit. And Frank's just like, no.
Please don't.
We don't have a production database anymore. It's
I mean,
gone.
I've tried not giving you access to the PHP Architect database, but as evidenced by one of the few tickets you asked me to look at when we have.
Oh, I did totally screw up on one of the PHP Architect tickets. The funny thing about the tickets is, what do we use for tickets? Zendesk. Yeah. So we use Zendesk, and I think it was like Saturday or something. I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right. John comes back next week. Things will calm down. I'll be able to catch a breath, and yeah, that'll be great. And oh shit, I haven't looked at Zendesk, because John, 90% of the tickets in Zendesk, John handles them. I'm like, I haven't looked at Zendesk. I wonder if he's been in there. I opened it up. I'm like, he hasn't been in here.
Whoops. We didn't really talk about that before I left.
We get a lot of Zendesk tickets. I mean, most of them, not most. There's a good amount that are spam. I guess I would say most of them are spam. We rarely have anything that's a real problem. Little things, change my address, fix this, but yeah, most parts. So yeah, if you're not familiar with PHP Architect, great magazine. If you're not a subscriber, what are you doing here? You should think about doing it. phparchitect.com.
We need to So I've been working on the PHP Architect subscription, and you and I need to talk about that more and decide, do we want to move forward with how I implemented that, or
charging more? Yeah. Wait, what?
That's not what I did.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I still have more to look at in there, I guess, before actually releasing it.
I'm always amazed with what you do with that legacy architect system that we work with. You are a champion for that, because I hate it. And I'm terrified. I explained to you, have had bad experiences in the past and broken a lot of things. So yeah. You know what I did get really familiar with last week?
What is that?
We talked about Figma, right?
Uh-huh.
And we talked about so I have a ticket in here for Figma, and I actually just put it in here because I wanted to be reminded to talk about Figma, but it's actually kind of funny once I explain it. So I'm not a designer. As I said, I love Tailwind because I'm not a designer, and it lets me get things done. And nothing drives me more bonkers when somebody submits a Figma built interface and is like, this is what we want. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I can do that. And I've always hated these people who make a living just doing Figma, and they're not developers. It's like, this stuff isn't you can't have angles like that. That's too hard. Stop putting them in here. But with our design team, we started using Figma for a couple of reasons, and we're like, hey, can you do these designs in Figma? And they started submitting the designs. So I actually paid for an account on Figma because I needed to do some things that you can only do with a paid account. I'm like, all right. I'm never going to use this how it's meant to be used, but at least I can get what I need done with it. And you and I had jumped on a call, and you had even said, there's a way you can make Figma act like it's the application. You can click on things and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, right. I know. I've seen that before. Yeah, that's what I did last week. And man, what a fucking game changer it is with our client.
Really?
Oh, we went from talking about what we had been doing was creating basically these screenshots of PDFs of, okay, this screen looks like this screen looks like that, this screen looks like this. And there was there was always this conversation, okay, well, how are you getting from here to there? What are you clicking? One of the big ones was they had a hamburger menu that would open up. And of course, you can, we'd only put it on one image. It's like, okay, so you have to be on that screen to click the hamburger menu. It's like, no, it's a hamburger. You just click it whenever you need to click it. So I took the time, because we've had a lot of back and forth on UIs on a particular project. And I was actually working with one of our clients' people. I said, listen, we need to figure this out. We need to make it so that this is just a no-brainer. And I started figuring out how to do the clicking piece. And so I made it like it was the application. So this happens to be a mobile application we're working on. And I just made it so all the buttons worked. I even did it where it has this, where it would accumulate as you clicked on something, the number would go up. And we had that meeting today. And oh my goodness, did that meeting go so much smoother. I didn't even do it, because that would be part of the problem. Is I would put the Figma stuff together, and then the sales guy would kind of talk about what that image was supposed to represent, and a question would be asked, hey, well, what happens if you hit this button? And it'd be, well, I'm not sure. Let's ask the PHP architect team. With this, I handed over to the sales guy. I call him a sales guy, but I mean, he's an engineer.
He's way more.
Yeah. And he basically runs their product development, really. And so that's who I worked with to say, okay, what do you want to happen when this button's clicked and this button's clicked and all that. And so I handed it to him, and he just starts clicking through things. He's like, okay, so now we want to set this toggle to this. Toggles were the big one. Like nobody could get their head around toggles and how they work. And I mean, I'm not trying to talk down. It's hard. We as developers take a lot for granted where we say, oh yeah, that's a toggle. Don't worry about it. It's a toggle. You take it to toggles. It's in the name, toggle. But end users who don't do it for a living, they don't get it. They're like, okay, but I need to be able to click on it and it say this. I'm like, yeah, that's what a toggle does. It's hard to represent that in a static image. But this Figma, and again, not a sponsor of the show. Don't go buying Figma because you heard about it on PHP Architect. And there's actually an open source version of Figma that I need to get more involved with. It starts with a P, and I forget what it's called, but I'll find it.
But if you're interested in it, go to them and say, if they sponsor the show, then you'll purchase the plan.
Or be a sponsor. They should be at PHP Tech doing talks and being a big sponsor of PHP Tech, because this is what we need. But Pincast, I forget what the open source version is. I'm gotten all into these self-hosted open source versions of stuff. But yeah, so that's been really fun. Pinpot, that's it. I actually haven't installed it on my Pop machine. I just haven't had. I installed it on my Pop machine because I was like, okay, well, I have Pinpot. I don't need Figma. Whatever Figma can do, I can probably do in here. And that's when I was doing like the very basics. So now I want to see if Pinpot, like if I can import my Figma, I don't know what you call it, document in Figma or whatever. If I can import the one that has all the clicky clicks on it and bring that into Pinpot, I should try that this weekend. But yeah, fun stuff, man. Lots of fun stuff.
I want to see what you did there. I'm interested in seeing that because I know I suggested it, but I've only seen other people do it. I've never actually sat down and looked at it. I don't do a lot in Figma.
Very interesting. I think you would really like it too. And it was fun to learn something new. Like it's been so long since I've taken on a new challenge where it's like, okay, I don't know anything I'm doing here. I need to. This is me, and I'm sure it has something to do with my ADHD or something. But I know, as for speaking of me specifically, when I try to learn something, if I think I can figure it out, like I think like, okay, I know how this should work, my brain fights it, right? And I have a hard time learning it. And then I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to learn something new. I need to learn this from Figma. I need to just accept whatever it tells me to do in whatever direction it takes me and do it and see if it gets me to where I need to be. And that's kind of where I came with this. And I was like, hey, this is perfect. So yeah, it's cool. I'll show you maybe tomorrow or something.
Never thought about it as an ADHD thing. Like, because I sit down, I try to learn something and then have my mind so distracted by everything else that needs to be done. So I read the bare minimum and then move on to something else. It's like I want to be that person that I'll read the documentations to really deep dive into something and understand it. And I just never take that time.
Or what else I'm really guilty of is I'll do something. I'm like, it shouldn't work this way. This doesn't make sense. It shouldn't work this way. And instead of just saying, okay, there's a reason they did it this way, or just accept this is how it works and figure it out from there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. Maybe it's just ego, and it's not anything cool like ADHD. But yeah, it's crazy. You know what else is crazy?
What else is crazy?
Our supporters on Patreon. Why is there no music here?
It's always music. Hey, look, you fixed the last name. Good job.
I did. Not only did I fix the last name, I might have had ChatGPT create a script to do it for me. So because I used to do it, or well, I didn't. Well, I guess used to. I always did it in Vim, right? I would just open up the file in Vim, and I had my little search and replaces I would do, and I had gotten gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I know what I want to do. Let me just go through my history and find it. And so I finally broke down, said, okay, I need to not worry about this week after week. So I'm just gonna write a script. And then I thought, okay, let me ask ChatGPT if it can write a script, and it did. And it actually wrote it correctly, which is cool. I don't think it had one break in it. It was fantastic.
Good.
So yeah, it works. And put a little nod to the Olympics. It's Paris. I mean, there was an Olympic logo in the lower left-hand corner, but it got cropped out, unfortunately. So there it is, right there, right over Honey Badger. There's an Olympic logo.
Probably would have got copyright stricken anyway.
Well, actually, it came from their media kit. So I went to their media kit and got it. And there it is, right there. And I don't know why it just stopped, but yeah, let's just move on. Thank you to all our supporters on Patreon. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so cool. So
I was going to say, because you brought up using ChatGPT to write the script, and I use PHP Storm for coding and have, I think I had the JetBrains AI. I don't know if that's enabled, but I know the GitHub Copilot's enabled. And it's been really good at certain things. Auto-completing a small snippet works great. But I opened a PR recently, and there's a new developer on the team. I don't know if he wants on the phone burner team, and I don't know if he wants it known who he is yet. So in his onboarding, he's looking at PRs, trying to ask questions or make suggestions. And one of the questions was, any reason you're using double quotes in something that doesn't have variables in it? And that's one of those sticking points where, yes, single quotes are more appropriate, but switching from double quote to single quote is such a micro optimization. Is there really a need for it? So in my response, it was like, yeah, it was a Copilot or a AI autocomplete thing. It was throwing an exception, and it automatically filled in with double quotes in a simple message. And I just didn't care enough to go and switch it from double to single quotes. Do you have any opinion on that?
I mean, I kind of agree. Like, if it's there, I don't know if it's worth the effort to go back and switch. I'm a single quote person. I do like the single quote. The problem, obviously, with single quotes is you have to escape any single quote within the quote, and I prefer to do that as opposed to having double quotes.
You have the same problem with double quotes. If you have a double quote inside there, you have to escape it. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true. I guess I never thought of it that way. So yeah, I don't think I care. It's just
that's where I
micro optimizations. Yeah,
he did have another good suggestion, because I touched an if block within this controller. He's like, should we write tests around that? I'm like, should we? Yes, but testing these legacy controllers is already damn near impossible. And then it's such a small piece of a system that's not even used that I don't really care enough. So no, I'm not going to.
And the flip side of that coin happened recently, and as a matter of fact, it wasn't until I had to deal with it that I thought about it. We had one of our developers who was in the Caribbean. Screw you. No, I hope you're having a great time, Michael. He was working on a project with, again, an external API, and he had this weird behavior where he would send a request to the API endpoint, like everything was working, and then he would send a request to an API endpoint that says, okay, now cancel this ticket, right? Basically is what the request was. And I guess because sometimes in his testing, he would get a response of tickets already been canceled. So this was throwing his code off, because he was accounting for success, failure. I forget what the other one was. And when he got this ticket has already been canceled. He was treating it as a failure, and he was concerned. He's like, I can't figure out what's going on. I can't figure out why the ticket's already been canceled. So I'm like, all right, we need to get this done. He's on vacation. I'm going to jump in there and look at it. And then I'm like doing all this like troubleshooting. I'm looking at his code. I'm like, all right, do we have some sort of condition where it's making the request twice? And I'm like diving into it deeper and deeper. And then eventually I'm like, do I care? Because I don't care, right? I want the ticket canceled. You're telling me it's already been canceled. I don't care. I'm going to treat that as a success. I'm sure later. And the thing is they had a code for that. This is a whole. Don't get me started with this whole request code in the response. It's a thing. But they had a code in the response to tell you that the ticket had already been canceled. So I'm like, I'm just gonna count that up as a success. Why not? That works. I'm sure there will be a bug later down the road where we'll say, well, why didn't we handle this? And I'm saying, I don't know. That's Michael's code. I don't know. He worked on that project.
Sorry, Michael. You stay in the Caribbean a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I just realized I gotta stop caring so much. Speaking of caring so much, I have a dirty secret to admit, and it's not so much a dirty secret to you because you know, but to the general people out there. I have been a X Prime user for a while, and the reason why, there's a reason behind it, but I forget the reason why. There was a reason behind it, and I was like, shit, I really need this feature, and I enabled it. But I went in and disabled the blue check mark. And I'm like,
okay, wait. I got very confused. You said X Prime, and I'm thinking Amazon Prime. You used to be a Prime user, a Prime member, and now you're not. And
it's not Prime. It's premium, right? Is it Prime or premium?
I don't know. It didn't hit me until I saw your ticket over here. I'm like, oh, X being Twitter because they changed their stupid name to X, and it's stupid. And anyway,
it's
continue.
It's premium. It's premium. Yeah. So I hid my blue check mark because I'm like, listen, I'm not a narcissist. I don't need to fake that I'm verified, and I don't want people to think I paid to be verified. So I disabled you could disable the blue check mark. And
were there any other reasons other than that? Like, why would somebody want the blue check mark to be hidden?
I don't know. I just know it worked for me, and so I did. Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know why it was a feature, but I went to my account from another account recently because I manage multiple accounts like PHP Architect and a few others, and I saw the blue check mark. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who put the blue check mark there? And I go back into my settings. I switched over accounts. I go back into my settings, and I'm clicking around like, okay, where was that setting? Where was that setting? And I'm like, damn it, I can't find the setting. And I Google. I'm like, how do you disable the blue check mark? And the story I just dropped in the Discord let me know. Oh yeah, X has removed your ability to hide your blue check mark.
I like this comment here. So if you're ashamed of your check mark and you don't want people knowing or thinking that you're giving money to Elon to use his app, you'll soon have no choice.
And the only thing to speak to what you were asking, the only thing I could think of is somebody at Twitter must have said, there's a shitload of people hiding their blue check mark. Like, we probably should make them let other people know that they're a premium member.
That they're paying us.
Sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it does. It's if I see a bunch of people paying for something, I'm like, wait, do I need that? Am I missing something here?
And it's funny because a few of the features I used to not use because, again, I just didn't want to be a premium user. I can't remember why I signed up for it.
Crap, mine's there too.
Yeah. But one of the ones is the long form posting. So you can post these stupid long tweets now, and it only shows like the first 210 characters, and then somebody has to hit like more to see the rest. But that was always an indicator of, oh hey, they're a premium user, and I never used that. Like if I didn't fit it into whatever our standard post was, I would just I would just
You succumb to that too. You're not calling it a tweet anymore. What's wrong with you?
You know what's wrong with me, John? What's wrong with me is we have almost 100 users on X right now watching us. I'm going to call X whatever the fuck they want me to call them, as long as they make it so people can watch PHP Ugly. That's what the problem is.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I got tired of the Twitter. I'm not calling. I started feeling like an old
X,
man.
formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, I started feeling like an old man. I called it a Twitter back, and I called it a tweet when I was your age. Yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. I got too much social media. I've got to trim it back, because I've got like Mastodon is still like my favorite place to go, because that's where all the geeks are again, which was what Twitter used to be. It just used to be a bunch of us geeks hanging out. And I still like hanging out in Mastodon, but the view, there's no way for us to stream to Mastodon, so the views and the people watching are on Twitter or YouTube, and it's so frustrating. I don't know what to do with myself. I just need to put it all away and take up gardening. Yeah. All right. Where are we at on time? Dude, I have been talking my ass off covering for you. You need to come up with something.
You've been doing awesome. What can I say? You don't need me or anybody else.
All right, so you have bought into the Apple cult. Now you have a decision to make. Are you sticking with your 1Password, which used to be an Apple-only product, but they are no longer Apple-only. They're on Linux and they're on Windows. Some can argue they don't work as well as on all the other platforms. As a matter of fact, we as a company recently decided to go move from LastPass because they had some security issues in the past, and John was just a schnot and just refused to use it. So we had decided to go from LastPass to 1Password as a company. But it turns out now Apple's like, oh yeah, no, we're going to have our own password manager. And I know you with your,
they always have.
Your Mac and your iPhone and your watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have the little goggles. Are you going to the Apple password?
I thought they always had a password manager. I didn't know there was something special about that.
Yeah, I thought so too. Isn't that what the keychain used to be referred to as? Like, wasn't that like a password manager?
That's what I thought. I don't know.
Is this an old article? Maybe this is an old article. No, June 14th. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read anything about it. I got between clients, PHP Architect, personal, I've got I'm not going to move everything over. No. It's that ability to share passwords with other people through something like 1Password is nice.
Or LastPass. You can share it through LastPass. I'm just saying. All right, so I don't get the reference, and I'm trying to remember it because I feel like I can almost remember this, but the article's title is, "Did Apple just Sherlock our favorite password managers?" What is that in reference to? I remember there's something with Sherlock with Apple computers.
And then it was, I don't know. I have no clue.
Oh, you tease.
I was curious myself. I was hoping you were going to tell me.
No, I'm trying to remember. I swear there was something with Sherlock, and I don't remember what it was. Was it like
Discord? Help us!
Help us, Discord! Help us! I think it was like a file manager or something. Here it is. Sherlock, named fictitious for Sherlock Holmes, was a file and web search tool created by Apple. I don't know how Apple would have Sherlocked itself, but I guess it was an old tool on the old Macs. As an extension of macOS Finder, file searching. Oh, it used to be the search, I guess, of Apple. I don't know. It was an old Apple thing. and I don't. So
Wait,
I don't get.
wasn't Sherlock the Finder replacement that you used?
No, that's Pathfinder, right?
I don't know.
Well, Pathfinder is the Finder replacement that I use today. I don't know. I don't know, man. This is why you want to be in Discord, because I guarantee you people in Discord will be schooling us on it. They probably go there now. Nope, nobody. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't foresee that happening anytime soon.
Yeah,
That
we'll
switch. I mean, they're going to be focused on the Safari browser, and most of the stuff I work on, I use Chrome, and because the vast majority of the users that are on the applications I work on are in Chrome. So, yep, that's where I'll be.
Yeah, and the difference between browsers is so small now, but there's a difference. Like when we did tech the first year, we learned Firefox handled SVGs differently than everybody else in the world.
Well, I told you Fomer has a new developer, and he was using Firefox and went to as simple as the sign-up form, or no, it was the credit card form to enter the month and year. And I don't know if it was a local dev thing or if it was a broader issue, but you click on a month and a year and it just didn't show up in the UI. It was checked,
Oh, really?
It worked, but it just didn't show up. And I know there's at least one other person on the team that uses Firefox because, to catch those little types of issues. But when you go and look at the statistics, I think it's like 98 or 99% of the people are using Chrome. They're not using Firefox or Safari. So it makes it hard to worry about it.
It's 2% though, John.
You can't focus on those 2%. You got to focus on the 98%.
Inside joke. All right. I don't know, John. I feel like that's it. You got anything you'd like to add?
I'm hoping to do some development this week and next week and have some more content for the show and be a better part of it. So thank you for carrying us this week.
This was too much work for me. Yeah.
You did good, though.
We need to do more PHP.
I can't wait.
I can't
wait to see you tomorrow.
I say catch us tomorrow. PHP Roundtable. I'm super excited about it. We have moved the time. Typically, roundtables at the same time PHP Ugly is 3 p.m. Pacific time. We're on Friday, and PHP Ugly is on Thursday. But tomorrow, to accommodate everybody, we have people. We're going to have a global panel, and to accommodate everybody, we've moved it up a couple hours, so it will be 1 p.m. Pacific Coast time, which is 4 p.m. East Coast time, and wherever you are in the world, do the math.
There's websites out there to do the conversion.
Yeah. Matter of fact, if you go to PHP Roundtable, it'll do the conversion for you. Check this out, man. I haven't even shared a screen with you guys yet. This is I need to work on the PHP Roundtable site, but one of the things I left there from what Sammy did is he has this little thing right here that it will. I think
you have to zoom in there.
I can do that for you. Sure. Why not?
Hey, thanks. Here, I'll help by removing the chat overlay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how Zoom works. Okay, here we go. I don't know if this shows you in your local time. It might. It has the time zone here, so I don't think it does. But if you click on it, it doesn't. It was opened a new tab. It takes you over to convert to whatever your time zone is.
Interesting.
So, so the PHP Roundtable site is actually still a site. I really need to give it some love and attention. It's been a while.
All of our sites need that much love and attention. What are you talking about?
This is true because this isn't even the worst, right? This isn't even the worst. It's good. So yeah, go check it out. Lots of past shows on here. Some good stuff. So, but make sure you join us tomorrow. Click the notify bell so that you don't forget. I just can't express enough how excited I am about this show tomorrow. Besides that, stop sharing. Thank you. I think
Live
that's
in 20 hours. So whatever 20 hours from right now is the time you need to worry about.
Where'd you see that?
YouTube.
Oh, it does say that on YouTube. Live in 20 hours. Ah, cool. Yeah. So just know whatever you do in 20 hours from now, be back on YouTube. All right. I feel
Wait,
like
20 hours from now would be noon Pacific time.
Did I screw that up?
No, it says 1 p.m. properly on there, but I'm doing 20 hours. It's 4 o'clock now. So 24 hours.
Yeah, you're right. 24 hours from now would be 4 o'clock, making it noon here. Yeah, YouTube, what's going on?
YouTube can't do date time math either, so I don't feel so bad.
I'm very paranoid. I see what you're saying. It does say 1 p.m. I see it, but I'm still very paranoid about it. Is this time zone not Pacific Coast? I don't know what to think.
It is. You're fine. You're fine.
All right. I hope I'm fine. Okay. Yeah. Somebody needs to check that code and open a pull request. There we go. Sherlocking. It's when Apple notices a third-party developer project and then copies the features into Apple's own software. It's how developer projects die. Why is it called Sherlocking, though? I'm trying to understand, A. Woods.
He made that up on the fly. He's like, I know the answer.
He's like, these guys are idiots. They won't challenge me on this.
Well, he's not wrong.
All right. I think that's it for episode 391. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
Keep it
ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all.
So
peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up.
I mean, he did the PHP Ugly anthem in front of that whole crowd and didn't put the logo up.
I figured you had tossed out stickers or something. I had actually brought stickers with me in case he I had an opportunity to give him one. And there was an opportunity to not meet and greet, but I guess it's like a meet and greet where he'll sign stuff for you after the show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, no, I love the guy, but I'm not staying in this line. The current wife and I found a side door and just
bolted out of there.
Yeah.
So hey, the show's over. If you're still hanging out with us, we're just going to chit chat and hang out for a few more minutes. A little after dark. I forgot to mention while I was on the plane, I almost embarrassed the hell out of myself because I'm sitting there and person sitting right in front of my wife on the other side of the aisle. So my wife and kids are across the aisle from me, sitting right in front of her on the aisle is a woman, and she's talking to the flight attendant, and so she's going back to Portland. And I heard her voice. I'm like, that might be Alina Holligan, like a friend of ours, like somebody I know. But I only saw like a side profile, and I almost said her name, just like Alina, and just to see if she would turn around. And luckily I didn't, because then I got a better look at her later on. I was like,
oh yeah, I would totally say I wouldn't have like projected it. I would have been like, Alina.
No, that's what I mean. I wasn't going to project. I was going to be like, just saying it like I was talking to my wife or something. See if she turned. It would have been more embarrassing if it was her name, but it wasn't really her.
Yeah, my kids hate it. They hate when we're in public and I'll use like somebody like our waiter or somebody who's helping us, like an usher or something, and they have their name tags on. I'll use their name, and my kids hate it. And
why?
I'm not sure, but one of the funniest things was we were at a Mexican restaurant, and the guy walks by, and I'm like, "Hey Juan, like, can we get some water over here?" And my kids freaked out. They're like, "Dad, like, that's racist. What are you doing?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "You can't just call people Juan." I'm like, "I can call him Juan." "No, you can't." And he comes over. I'm like, "Thank you, Juan." He goes, "You're welcome." I'm like, yeah, his name is Juan. But yeah, they hate it. They hate it when I do it.
I don't understand that one.
I think it implies a degree of intimacy with the person, like you know somebody more than you actually do. I think that's how their opinion of it is. Like, you don't really know this person. Don't refer to them as their name. That, you know, you're not friends, so you shouldn't. I don't know. I'm making things up because I don't really care. I do it now just to embarrass them. I mean, now I'll like engage with them more. We recently went to a baseball game, and the usher came over, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're in section 3," and she was like, "Well, let me look at your ticket, because a lot of times, you see right here, it's seat 3," and I got like the eyes of death from my kids. I could feel them, but we were in section 3, seat 3, and my ticket just happened to be seat 3. So I'm like, she's like, "So see, people look at this and see the seat and think that's the section." I'm like, "Yeah, but what section are we in?" And she's like, "Oh, no, you're in section 3. I wasn't saying you weren't." And I just like turned around like, "Karen, I feel like our relationship's built on lies." And like, they hate that shit. They hate it. They were ready to leave the game at that point. They're like, "All right, that's it. First pitch hasn't even been thrown out, and we're out of here. Talk to you later." So
see, yeah. I'm like you, and where especially if the waiter introduced themselves, like, "Hey, I'm Karen. I'm gonna be taking your name." I'm like, "Hi, Karen. Thank you." Like, using their name with them, it just makes sense to me.
I feel like I would appreciate it. You know, I definitely hate it when people say, "Hey, asshole, what the fuck are you doing with this code?" I don't like being referred to that way. If they would just say, "Hey, Eric, you asshole," that would mean a lot more to me. Feel so much better.
I hate traveling, and I think I'm sick, and now I'm terrified it's COVID. And
every freaking body's sick. I've heard so many people have COVID. I don't want to fly again.
Yeah, I mean, my neighbors, all 3 of them have it. Actually, my neighbor up the hill, also, him and his wife both have it. I'm sure across the street does too if I talk to them. So I'm not talking to them because I don't want to know.
Yeah, and there must be another wave happening or something, because it seems to be like very, very common. But I don't know, man. I was just getting over my hump of I'm never traveling again, and I think for a while, like tech, we'd gone up to San Francisco, I think when NorCal Kid moved to help them. I flew out to Tech, and that was it. And then it started up again. I think we went to Nashville, but I'm just getting comfortable with traveling again. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing everybody's coming down with COVID. Sucks, man. And I'm not a good traveler to begin with. I'm a big guy, so I was like, I'm never comfortable traveling, and I don't know, man.
Well, you get to practice again in a couple weeks, right?
I guess so. Yeah. When's Portland?
End of October. I guess I need to make a decision on that and buy.
You haven't made a decision? I thought you'd already done all that.
I'm probably I'm high percentage of going.
Gotcha.
I haven't pulled the trigger on purchasing anything yet. I need to get that done.
Oh, don't worry, you got plenty of time. I mean, you remember Larrycon, you just you had no issues there. Wait a minute. That's why you're not coming with me to Larrycon. You waited too long.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I wish I had enough motivation to go to Portland, and I do want to go to Portland as a city. Nothing against the conference or anything like that. I'm just not. I don't want to travel that much yet. Yeah. So what we're talking about is Cascadia PHP conference.
Yeah.
So that should be fun.
I think there's a high chance of going. It's just a matter of making it happen. So
they did what we did at Tech. They have a 1 day, 2 day, full 3 day pass.
Yep.
Huh.
But they're also teasing like you need the 3 day if you really want some of the extra secret surprises.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. This should be fun. Oh man, you're right by the water too? Damn. That should be fun. Is the conference is in the hotel?
I don't know. I haven't done enough research.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, the conference is at a hotel, so I assume you can register at that hotel.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Like, I like Larrycon's unique venues that they have, but they're never like convenient to where you need to stay. I mean, I think New York was the best because you could walk to there was plenty of places to stay within walking distance, but it's not always like that, and I definitely prefer when you can stay in where the conference actually is. Yeah. Well, this is cool, man. Well,
all right, we should call it. Still have a lot of catch up to do from being gone for almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, on the mustard and can't catch up. I get it. I hear where you're coming from. All right, well that'll be it. We're gonna end the stream. Thanks.